So our grandkids recently moved aboard the boat with us. It's been a great experience, and we had the extra bunk for the 9-year-old, so that wasn't an issue. But the 2-year-old, we were looking for a good place to really make it her stateroom or her place to sleep. And in the owner's stateroom, there is a wide king-size berth with 2 small seating areas on either side of it, and then a sort of built-in dresser. So we were using one of the seating areas for the baby's bed. She just about fit on it, but there wasn't a lot of extra space. So in this project, we decided to essentially turn the dresser into her bed, and in order to do that, we had to relocate the TV and a couple of electrical outlets. This is the project and how it went. Hope you enjoy it.
Well, this is where the baby tends to sleep. It's right off of the larger bed, so she sleeps right there, but she's already grown quite a bit, so we've got to get a little bigger spot. So what we're going to do is take this spot over here where the TV goes, and we're going to make that essentially her bed. It's about twice the size, length and width. So the first step in all this is going to be to remove the cushions and then mount some electrical outlets over here so that we can put the TV and whatnot over here. I think what I may do here is actually run the electrical outlet right inside of this cupboard here, and then put a small access hole on the top right up there where the cables can go through it. I think that might look best. I'm not sure if you can see this wire right here I'm shining the light on, but that's what goes to the original outlet in the head, and right there in the corner I'm actually going to disconnect the outlet in the head, and I'm going to rerun those wires up into this cupboard right up there, and that's where I'm going to mount the outlet for the TV and whatnot, so it's kind of hidden.
It was now time to run to the hardware store to grab a few parts I was going to need for this project. I wanted to have a non-metallic electrical box, and I decided I wanted to go ahead and have a 4-plex instead of a duplex. It seems like you can never quite have enough outlets on the boat, and I figured the LED TV and the direct TV receiver are all fairly low amp draws, so it shouldn't be a problem.
I just pulled into Ace Hardware. I've got a small list of things I need for this little project, and amazingly enough, this place looks small on the outside, but it seems like they always have what I need when I come in here for some oddball little part. And I only need a couple of feet of a good stranded marine wire. I need a small outlet box, a non-metallic outlet box, and I'm hoping they have some of those desk inserts where I can drill a hole in the top of a shelf and run wires down through it. We shall see. Well, I must admit, disappointed. They absolutely have the wire, all wire, stranded, 12 gauge, which is for 15 amps nut. But didn't have the duplex outlet box or the decorative cover, so I guess I'm going to the depot. The Home Depot.
I always dislike when I have to go into 2 different stores for parts for a project, but that was the case today, so here, ride with me at lightning speed as we get to the store real quick. Well, as you can see, I decided to go to Lowe's instead, but I picked up the electrical box, some flexible conduit, and the decorative holes. And now, it's time to head on out to the checkout.
You got it all figured out?
No.
No? Do you need some help maybe? Plug?
Plug.
Plug, yeah, we're going to wire in new plugs, right?
Plug.
That's right, plug. Okay, I'll take it. Who's a cutie pie? Kinda you. Are you embarrassed to be such a cutie pie?
I went ahead and wired the 2 outlets together just to get a head start and do this while I had a little bit more space to work rather than trying to do it inside that cupboard. The next step was to go ahead and disconnect the outlet inside the head, which is on the opposite side of the wall you see me working on here. So now I'm pulling the wires through the wall underneath that section of the rear bunk, and now just kind of unlining these and moving them back toward the edge of the cabinet where I'll run them upward and into the cabinet itself and wire it into that 4-plex box. While I was in here moving wires, I decided I would go ahead and clean up and reroute some of the wires that were just sort of messily run. You can kind of see the terminal blocks just above my arm in this video. instead of running them all in front of the electrical wires, there's like 6 or 7 wires coming down off here, and some of them run in front of the wires, some run behind of them. So I just went ahead and disconnected them, grouped them all together with tie wraps, and nicely strung them along underneath the beam there. With the wires routed toward the hull side, I went ahead and drilled a hole in the bottom of this cupboard to run the lines up through. Once drilled, I like to clean this stuff up right away and just keep the working area neat. So I have a small dustpan and broom to pick it all up with, and then feed the lines up from the bottom into this particular cupboard where we will make all the connections, and then tap into that and run the additional outlets in the head, going straight forward from this particular location. Alright, we put the bracket on the back of the TV. We've held it up and lined it up a lot to see where we need to install it. And we know where we need to drill a hole and mount it over here, so now we're going to do that. So after a lot of careful alignment and measuring, and even marking the spots where we would ultimately mount the full action swinging arm TV mount, we went ahead and drilled pilot holes to start with. The next step was to put the top screw in. You'll notice as we put this up, we're really not worrying about the actual bracket being straight, so you'll see here after we get the top screw in, it just sort of falls down at a pretty uneven kilter there. So the challenge in doing a project like this is really trying to make sure that you have items that are level. And given that the boat could actually be rocking a little bit when you mount it, you'll notice I put a small level on top of this bracket and went ahead and lined up the bubble, and then at this point I'm going to go ahead and mark the spot where I need to put in a screw at the bottom and drill a pilot hole and ultimately bolt that bottom part of the bracket into the bulkhead itself. Now it's time to go ahead and get ready to mount the TV, so I went ahead and swung this out to a location where I'd be able to hang the TV on the front and check it one more time to be sure that it's level. I'm checking it across a couple of the different beams just to be certain. The good news is she looks good. And then the next step is to pick up the TV and actually attach it to this adjusting bracket. The nice thing about having this mount on the back of the TV first is it makes this step a lot easier than it would be otherwise. And now once it's connected up here, it's going to be a matter of putting the 2 set screws in on the left and right hand sides on the bottom, and then we're all set. Ooh. Look at the glare on that TV. You see just how dusty that darn thing is. That is, well, that's embarrassing. Sorry. Alright, we've got it mounted. Now it's just a matter of all the different angles it'll go at. And obviously I'm going to change this light out because that's a little bit in the way, but I get a sense for what we have here. So there you go. It looks kind of crooked, but ironically enough, and it's perfectly level. Now it was just a matter of rerunning the satellite dish cables to the other side of the boat and putting McKinley up on her new bed and seeing if it met her satisfaction. Based on the response, I'd say it did meet her satisfaction. All in all, I would say this project was a success. The bed's about twice as wide, about twice as long, and the baby seems to certainly enjoy that a little bit better, and honestly, she doesn't fall off of it as much, so that's a good thing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up by clicking on the bottom right hand side of the screen, and please do subscribe to get all of our videos as we put them up online.